Hello guys, welcome to today's video. Today I'll be talking about my UCL medical interview. I'll be sharing all of my experiences, my opinions on the questions that they asked me, but also my reflection on the interviews. Before I continue, I'd like to thank Medify.co.uk for making this video possible. The link is in the description down below, so make sure to go and check out their website. They've got fantastic resources for the BMAT and UCAS, so definitely make sure to go and check that out. I had my UCL interview a few years ago now, and I got called for interview, I think, late December, so maybe the 20th, 21st of December, that sort of time. And my interview was scheduled for, I think, the 14th of January. After my interview, I heard back from UCL approximately a week, 2 weeks after, and they said, congratulations, you've got an offer from UCL. The offer, I think, from UCL was A star, AA, and then they didn't really care about my fourth A level. I think they didn't care about maths. So they wanted me to get an A star and 2 A's within physics, chemistry and biology. That's because I was taking 4 subjects to A2. So my interview was a few days after the day on which people who apply to Oxbridge find out if they got their offers or not. I wasn't sure which attitude I should take on. You know, if I'd got an offer from Cambridge, I'd be really happy, and so I thought I'd do really well in my UCL interview. And if I hadn't got my offer from Cambridge, I knew I'd be quite down about that, and I thought I might do really badly in the UCL interview. UCL was my second choice, so I knew I had to do really well in the interview to try and secure that offer. So I had mixed feelings about that. Now, a few of you may be in the same position, and one thing I told myself was, whether you are successful with Oxford, Cambridge or not, doesn't matter. Prepare for your UCL interview as well as you can anyway. Even if you get an offer from Cambridge, it doesn't matter. You still need to make sure you get your UCL offer, because ultimately you need to choose a firm and an insurance choice on your UCAS form. Because I'd prepared quite a lot for my Cambridge interview, I didn't prepare as much for my UCL interview, but also I had a lot of A-level work to sort of finish off in the winter holidays, and so I didn't get as much time to spend on my UCL interview as I wanted to. Nevertheless, I did spend approximately a good week or week and a half preparing for the interview. Again, going through the ISC medical book, looking at online resources, looking through the notes that I'd written for my previous Cambridge interview. So the UCL interview, as expected, was a panel interview. I had 4 people sitting in front of me. Now, the overall experience was pretty good. You go there quite early, 2 or 2.5 hours in advance. You sit in a big waiting room with other people. It's quite a nice experience because, you know, we were all in a big room. We were just talking about our applications, talking about, you know, our experiences, our work experience and all of those things. So it's a good way to get to know people. Now, one by one, people start getting called out for interview. So when I was waiting in this waiting room, I was actually given my BMAT essay. And I think most UCL applicants who are successful and get an interview are given their BMAT essays. It's a photocopy of your essay, and you are asked to analyse it. So you are advised to go through the essay, think of things that you would have done differently, because at UCL interviews, very commonly they ask about the BMAT essay, and so it's important that you look over it. Now, if you are much younger and you're watching this before you've done even your BMAT, don't think that you need to remember all of the ideas that you put down in your BMAT essay. You are given this essay back for a reason, because they realise that it's unlikely for you to have remembered all your ideas. And so they're giving you an opportunity to look over your essay and think of more ideas and sort of consolidate on the points that you've made already. So after about an hour and a half of waiting, I was called in for my interview. There were 4 people sitting in front of me. It was a large wide desk and they were on the opposite side. Of course, I made sure to introduce myself to all 4 of them. Now, one of those 4 people was there to simply keep time, so to make sure that they didn't run over, and also I think to make sure that the interviews are being carried out in a consistent manner. So even though this 4th person wasn't really interviewing me, I still made sure to introduce myself and to say hello. The interview started off quite generally. We talked about a variety of things, from why I wanted to study medicine to my personal statement. They asked about a few experiences that I had. They asked about whether I'd been to UCL before, and so I used that opportunity to mention a sort of research thing that I did, where I visited a developmental biology laboratory at UCL. So since they didn't really ask too many sciencey questions, I tried to link in science wherever I could, and I tried to link the science to patient care. So, try to justify why I mentioned it by linking it to that eventually. So yeah, don't expect too many sciencey questions, but they do have a few. And of course, they'll be quite basic. They'll be based off your AS level curriculum usually. And if you are asked sciencey questions, use your existing knowledge and apply it to the situation. So before I go into detail about the experience I had, statistically, I think if you get an offer for interview at UCL, the chance of you getting an offer is about 5 out of 7. So it's pretty high. UCL often sort of select the candidates they really, really want, and they call them for interview. So unlike Oxford and Cambridge, they don't really interview like 90% of all the applicants or 80% of all the applicants. They choose the people that they really like, and then they interview them to make sure that the students are at the level to which UCL expect them to be. After a few relatively basic sciencey questions, in my opinion, we then went on to talk about my BMAT essay. And the way they can phrase a question is either, in two main ways. The first way is they can say, are there any things that you would change? Are there any other ideas that you may mention? Or they might find a certain point in your essay and they might discuss that. So for me, they asked me the first question. They were like, you've written this essay, what do you think about it? Are there any things you'd mentioned that you haven't mentioned yet? And I took that opportunity to talk about the importance of research and data protection, as well as confidentiality. And then I had a good 5-minute discussion with one of the interviewers talking about that point and how important actually data is in medicine. And even though I talked about confidentiality, we ultimately ended up talking about how big data can be extremely useful in medicine and can lead to more personalised care. And so people can get treated and out of hospital sooner. They also asked me about my extracurricular activities. I think one of the interviewers was familiar with my school, particularly my school's choir. And so he was quite interested in my choral singing. And so as well as talking about choral singing, I mentioned a few skills that I'd gained from it and how those skills had helped me progress to the level at which I was. And so even if you are talking about a hobby or some sort of sport that you've played, always try and mention skills and bits of knowledge that you've gained from doing those things. It just shows that you've thought about these things, that you are doing these hobbies, that you're doing these activities for a reason, because you're gaining something from it, in addition to just having lots of fun. So the overall experience was pretty good. The interview was quite short, didn't last too long. Of course, I predominantly answered the person who asked the question, but I still made sure to look around and make eye contact, because that aspect of communication is very important. Because in medicine, you'll be working, as part of a team. And so it's important that when you are talking to even one person, that you still address the whole team, to make them just feel as if they're part of the team, to include everybody. After my interview, we went around UCL and we had a small tour. And so the group of people that I was with, we were taken around by, a third-year medic, and they showed us around the medical faculty at UCL. It's pretty huge. That was good fun. And then, yes, I had to go home, and that was the end of my interview. So overall, the UCL interview was quite relaxed, I would say. Make sure you go through the framework for your clinical questions, also revise a bit of science, and last but not least, make sure to maybe read around a few current affairs. They did actually ask me about the junior doctor contracts, asking me to explain what the new changes were. But luckily I'd read about this. It was a very important topic at the time, and so I was able to answer that relatively easily. If you have any more questions, do comment down below. If you are new, make sure to subscribe, and if you did find this useful, a like would always be appreciated. Once again, thank you so much to Medify.co.uk for making this video possible. So yeah, that's it from me. Take care, and I'll see you soon.